Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning to it. A fine Lawn Maintenance Tuesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you miss portions of the show, we got you covered. All 3 hours posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Catch up at your leisure. Both on iTunes and on our own audio vault, as I say. JCS at 979 ESPNRadio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. By the way, the other one was the email. If that's not confusing enough, I'll get it together. WTSM app works for your mobile devices. You know, right before we came on, I was reading a story here, Tom, that predicting college football's top 15 breakout stars for the 2017 season. They lured me in. I knew, for example, that surely Cam Akers would be on that list. So I thought, well, okay, even though this is a sucker, I'm gonna click your little headline here, Ben from CBS Sports, and I did, and he is on there, of course, along with a host of other guys. And I thought, man, the lists—that's how they always get you. The lists get you. Any list gets you. Even when you know it's just clickbait.
Well, especially now, because we've committed to the sport.
Yeah.
And so anything we can take with the sport, we'll get.
Lists, they get you. But one thing I noticed, I didn't know if you noticed this, I just think it's so sad, but it's not surprising, that CBS's website, which I'm not really on there all that much, if we're going to be honest. I am on there because I'm in a baseball fantasy league, and I was adjusting my roster right before we started the show because I want to make sure that no games start while I'm performing the Jeff Cameron Show, and then, you know, you don't have your lineup in there, Tom. We can't have all that.
No.
So I was doing that, and then I clicked over there, and I saw that headline. I went, oh, well, let's real quick before the show begins. Let me see. Is he on the list? And then next to the story, they have the headline, right? And then underneath it, it says, here are 15 players who will make major leaps over the next few months. And then underneath that, it tells you how long it's going to take you to read it.
What?
Sad. 7 minutes. 7-minute read is what it says.
They're starting to tell you how long it's going to take to read.
Yeah, they're starting to tell you how long it takes to read. We know you guys hate reading. This is only 7 minutes.
But
yeah.
What if it takes you 12?
Like, you think, am I deficient? I'm timing this? God, I must be a dumbass. Yeah, so here's the thing. What is that based on? The average reading speed, I assume? And
That's got to be scrolling. They can't do retina data.
yeah, it's interesting. So the list reads as follows. Real quick, just the Cam Akers part, since I broached the subject. His premise is that, hey, look, 2016, you had stars everywhere. They're everywhere. Deshaun Watson, Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, Myles Garrett. They're all gone for this year. Who are the big names that are going to rise up and be part of the college football fan lexicon over the next several years? The first guy on the list is Cam Akers. And he notes that it's probably a cop-out pick, seeing as that he predicted boldly that Akers would win the Heisman as a freshman. Cam Akers, sir, is not going to win the Heisman as a freshman, especially when he's not even getting enough carries to surpass, say, Jacques Patrick as the starting running back. But, nonetheless, he's on the list. And it brings me to a question I was asked by .com, warchant.com. I think he's gathering information from people that do work for him. I'm one of them. About carries and certain questions over unders, all that stuff. And the question was, and I want your opinion on this because I like the question. I've been kicking around in my head for a little while. Will Jacques Patrick receive over 40% of the carries for FSU this year?
Ooh, buddy. 40% of the carries.
Yeah,
So
will Jacques Patrick get 40% of the carries amongst the running backs?
this isn't a question about September because we think he's going to get the lion's share of carries in September. It's by the end of the year, has he been overtaken?
That's so tough. I love that question. I don't normally do this, and I'm sorry, Gene, if I ruined it for you. The over-under roundtable will be on warchant.com later, and you'll see all the opinions. But that's one. I've really been kicking that around a little bit today. That's a great question.
Well, here's the right opinion, so you don't need to go to one. I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
Yeah.
Man, I think he does. I think he retains at least 40% of the carries.
I leaned in that direction as well. I was kind of wrestling with it a little bit, but I think he's going to have a good year. I don't know that he's a great fit against Bama, and I think early in the year he may struggle a little bit as we face these really good defensive lines, because he's not a guy that's going to make people miss in the backfield. He's a guy that, obviously you want to get running downhill, and really I would think you want to kind of compile the carries. You want 20, 22 carries. Jimbo doesn't really do that all that often unless you are Dalvin.
Yeah, but 40% isn't a ridiculously high number. That's the thing. So there could be stretches of the season where he is your featured back. Then there could be another stretch where somebody else emerges if he still gets 40% of the carries. Because we're figuring on, let's break it down too, at least 3 players getting some variety of carries, and that's going to be Patrick Akers and Amir Rasul. At least those 3.
Right.
Then you're going to have to factor in that DeAndre is going to get credited for carries because there are going to be some design runs. So they're going to call those rushing attempts. That'll take out, 3 to 5% of the total.
Right.
Man, that's tough. Because you could still have a 2-headed monster with Rasul as a change of pace back and DeAndre, also changing the pace of the offense and changing the eye level of the defense. And you could have 2 guys with 35 to 42% of the carries. That's a hell of a question.
I will tell you this. I am rooting for Jacques Patrick to have a great year. I think he's done what is asked of him. He's in the best shape of his life without question right now. Not that he's ever been out of shape. And he's a guy that has gotten tougher and done the things Jimbo asked. Dalvin Cook was so special, but was he so special as to warrant those extra 5 carries against some of the also-rans that he got? That was the frustrating part of the lack of use for Patrick, was this thought that, man, Dalvin probably doesn't need an extra 3 or 4 carries against this team that we're beating by 28 or whatever it might be. You could give the ball to Patrick, but he wouldn't do it. And that's kind of what led to our belief that he just does not like Jacques Patrick. It could be that it wasn't that he didn't like Jacques Patrick. It's that he loved Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and too much in certain circumstances, as you're kind of alluding there.
Yeah.
The hard part is that we think of this and the way you're talking about it, I had to go double check just to make sure. He's only a junior. This could be a 2-year arrangement where Jacques Patrick and Cam Akers are the faces of your running game together in tandem with Rasul and Laybourne, filling in if there's attrition of any kind. But he's only a junior. You could have 2 years of Jacques Patrick as a big part of the offense.
It's interesting because they love what's come into camp out of the youth movement. You look all around this team right now. Every press conference, the one constant that Jimbo has in these post-scrimmage, post-practice get-togethers with the press is how impressed he is with the youth, with the freshmen that have come in. And that's odd to me, given – I don't think it's a knock on the veterans. It's actually a tip of the cap to how good the young guys have played. To me, it's great. Obviously, you want to foster competition. But think about it. You've got a team in which 14 different players – either started or saw the field and played significant minutes on this defense back for this year, right? So that includes starters and those that played significant roles. 14. If you look on the offensive side of the ball, you've got a ton of returning talent, a ton of guys that played a lot of minutes at quarterback, at wide receiver. I say a lot of minutes, a lot of reps. At wide receiver, at running back and Patrick, obviously, at quarterback, at tight end. Most of the linemen, 4 of the 5 linemen have played. So it's fascinating to hear him spend so much time talking about the incoming freshmen and how well they've played and how much they're pushing people. And that includes Cam Akers and the other running backs. That includes Terry at wide receiver. I think that includes the defensive backs we keep hearing about. He loves, obviously, Samuels the third. He loves the other, Nasir Little. Him.
Nasir al-Din.
Yeah. He loves him.
Hamza is what he goes by.
I go by Hamza too, yeah.
Well, the hard part is, and I agree with you because I thought ever since out in Charlotte, he was talking about we have 20 new incoming guys, Jeff.
Right. He kept bringing it up. Yeah, he brings it up a lot.
And there were times, and there have been times in the past where in July he'll say one thing, then he gets to camp and he says another thing. Like, for example, last season. Last season, we're in Charlotte, and he's talking about how he likes how this team is responsible.
Yeah.
And the level of accountability is the best it's been in 2 or 3 seasons. And he knew exactly what he was doing from a math standpoint. He was pointing back to the 29 straight win teams. And then we got into camp, and he said the team's not tough. Well, that's quite a stark, contrasted message. But he has stayed on point here talking about freshmen. To put it this way, though, here's an easier way to just visualize it as you're looking at a stat sheet. Let's say for every 20 carries that you see on the ledger, is Jacques getting 15 of those carries?
No.
Is he getting 8?
Yes.
If he gets 8 out of, there's your 40%. It's just, it's the math, but
sure,
it's a lot more palatable if you're thinking about it in your mind to say out of 20 carries as a team, he gets 8 of them. That doesn't sound like too much.
If he's just splitting with one other guy, you really feel good about it. But the problem is, I think he's splitting with 4. I mean,
you think, okay,
well,
but at what point
think,
do we have 3 or 4 guys really, truly in the mix? Is it in September?
I think, man, honestly, when you're playing against the great defenses, you're going to want to rotate those guys and keep them fresh if they can handle it in pass pro, right? I mean, that's the big one. I mean, they got to be able to handle it in pass protection. But if they can, the ability is there and the body types are there and the difference in styles, they're all there. I think absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to write this down for either tomorrow or later in the week. Should take a look back at 2010 because we had, a 2 or 3 headed monster in 2010. The 2014 to a degree as well before Dalvin emerged.
Yeah.
But in 2010, I mean, they rushed for 1,500 yards as a team, and you had Jermaine, and you had Chris Thompson, you had Ty Jones. So, and Lonnie Pryor even to a degree.
My man.
So we could take a look at the disparity of that season. That's probably a good indicator.
He's not afraid if he believes he's got enough guys that can do it because he keeps them fresh. That position almost demands it. By the way, you know what? We'll ease into some Hard Knocks talk before we do. Dick Stockton, Mark Schlereth, Shannon Spake, the team for Fox. That's what we're getting? That's the team?
Yeah, Schlereth disappeared from ESPN, and it wasn't until last week. You and I forget where we were.
But he was on Fox, yeah.
You could see him on Fox, and he was on the Cowherd Whitlock show.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, so he went to Fox. Okay. I thought maybe he just quit. Because remember, he was doing, like, the show from Denver, the radio show at
Well,
night?
he was also doing, like, a tools-type show or something where you do it yourself on YouTube or something.
Apparently, he's going to be an analyst in the booth. With Dick Stockton, checks and balances.
Man, this is not a good grouping here, what we got going on for football coming up this year for Fox. Damn it, man. It's just heartbreaking. I saw that. Saw my girl Pam Oliver, though, is still up there with the second team. I like her.
Yeah, Charles Davis got because that was going to be Cutler's spot. I mean, think about that. It was going to be Jay Cutler with Kevin Burkhardt in booth number 2.
I'm still interested to hear Cutler when that time comes, man. Does that guy care enough to give an opinion during the game? Like, to actually do the analysis?
Well, you got defenders trying to make a play and offensive players trying to score.
Yeah, trying to score. And that time it didn't work out. 2nd and 7. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You can do right now that will save energy while you try to keep out of the summer heat. First thing, get your air conditioner checked out and change your air filters. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how much energy and money you can save. Going away from home on vacation? Why not purchase a programmable thermostat to regulate your air conditioner while you're not at home? Talk about an investment that'll pay energy savings dividends. Make an appointment right away for a free energy audit from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. You never know how much energy you can save until you do it. The City of Tallahassee is offering insulation grants. Why not apply for one? Did you know that the City of Tallahassee offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Don't let Tallahassee's hot summers get you down. Verano Heating and Air Conditioning can help in case of a breakdown, day or night. Their certified technicians can get you up and running in no time. Turn to the experts at Carrier and at Verano Heating and Air. Call 580-4029 or visit VeranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Tonight, the return of Hard Knocks should be fun, although less fun this week than last, because this week we get to meet all the wives, which, whatever, but it means Miko Grimes will be in the news, no doubt.
Yeah, it's not for what you think. It's just because Miko Grimes, who's insane, is going to get way too much run. It's just going to happen.
It was always going to happen the second they announced the Bucks were going to be the subject of Hard Knocks, without question, and no doubt she's well aware and was well aware when the cameras made their way into the living room or wherever it was that they did their interviews with her that this was going to be seen.
Oh, yeah. They showed
HBO.
Yeah, and the tease for
Showtime, whatever that. What is it,
HBO.
HBO. I don't know what the hell I'm talking
in the tease for tonight's episode 2, they show her waiting for Brent. He opens the door coming off the practice field. She gives him a kiss. I'm like, oh, great. So you're going to be right there. Rather than, the standard, they come to the house. You get to see how they live.
Right.
Like Gerald McCoy, in the very, very beginning of the show. Nope. She goes to the training facility and is front and freaking center. Great.
That's funny. So that's tonight, and we're looking at it as a lackluster episode, but maybe it's not. Who knows? How many are they doing?
I think they do one after the final preseason game, right? So I guess that would be 5.
So the other part of that has to be about Roberto Aguayo getting cut.
Oh, they have to show it.
I mean, well, yeah, and that'll be interesting. Somebody asked me about that very subject and said, do you feel bad for him? And you'll hear this on some of the headlines coming up in a little bit later on when we talk about this subject. But given that you're a fellow Bucks fan and another Noel, we get into this. The one thing about the NFL, I always, I describe it as a league of mercenaries. It's true of our fandom oftentimes, too. Well, I look at the Bucks franchise, and I don't see, even with Jameis Winston, who obviously I love, but I don't look at him as a Noel right now. He is, but I look at him as a Buccaneer. And it's just the same way that I looked at whether it was Warren Sapp at defensive tackle or people from other universities. Your college ties really don't mean anything to me once you get to my team in the league. I put all that aside, and all I care about is, are you helping my franchise win football games? Are you a reasonably decent human being? I mean, I don't need you to be a saint. It's the league, after all. We know the shield represents a lot of things, and it can be any number of things that aren't exactly appealing. But can you ball? Can you play? Can you not be a menace to society? Because short of that, if you can play, I'll ignore everything else. I'll ignore where you went to school. I'll ignore whatever problems you had off the field. I'll ignore any number of things because it's about winning football games. The NFL is the bottom line business. So you can be a Gator, you could be a Cane, you could be a player that I loathed when you were in college. If you're good with my team, there I am. So I don't look at Roberto Aguayo as, hey, he was a Noel. This is a tragedy. listen, it was a dumb draft pick. We first guessed it, didn't second guess it. I don't think he kicked all that well his final season here. He was trending in the wrong direction at the time that we moved him and picked him as a second-round pick. So I didn't have high hopes for this to begin with. I would have never taken a kicker that high, and that includes Sebastian Janikowski way back when he was taken in the first round. That was still a dumb pick. It just worked out for the Raiders. So the result worked out. The process is still wrong. They shouldn't have done it. It worked out. So everything about this set up poorly in my mind. And when it didn't work out, I would have already let him go. I would have let him go before they did. I was done with this a while back. I wish him well. He's not a bad person. He was a fun interview, but he was very cocky. And it's interesting to watch this play out, but it just shows you how mentally, kickers to me are a lot like golfers. You're talking about a golf swing and the motion of kicking.
Yeah, once there's noise in the system,
right,
it's hard to eliminate the noise in the system.
That's right.
And the system can be between the ears.
And it doesn't matter to me where you come from, if you're a Knoll, if you're a Gator or a Cane or any of the other schools that we consider to be rivals. Once you're on the Bucs, you're a Buccaneer, and I'm rooting for you no matter who you are, because I want to see my team succeed, again, within reason. Like, I wouldn't root for Adrian Peterson if the Bucs had signed him. I wouldn't. I'd root every time he touched the ball in a Buccaneers uniform. I would have wished for him to get hurt. But short of a guy like that who was abusing 4-year-old kids, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, if I didn't like you at your previous stop, be it college or wherever you were in the NFL, I still don't like you very much. But I can tell you that when K2 was open on every play, Kellen Winslow, I'd say, well, Kellen Winslow's open on every play. Can we please roll him out there more often?
Yeah.
And he really was open on.
There was a brief window where that was true.
Oh,
sure.
my God. And I get it. I hate him. I hated him. But he was quite useful. But then there are some players from other universities, rival universities, that I can't wait to root for, frankly, because I like their game, but I wasn't allowed to.
They weren't bad guys, whatever.
But we can hit the reset button. Now they're wearing my colors.
If the Bucs had signed Andre Johnson, I'd have been waving the flag, but I admire the hell out of that guy.
Sure, exactly. And of course these picks didn't work out. But, Riedel Anthony and Jacquez Green, when they first came to Tampa, they were a good 1-2 punch for maybe a year or so. But I was excited to root for them and welcome them on board.
I had nothing personally against them other than that they were Gators.
Right.
And that's not even personal. Right, sure.
Right, exactly. But it was just, watching the orange and blue and the chomp and all that.
Yeah.
And I was a kid at the time. But then you hit the reset button, and I know Quez listens to the show, so hello,
yes,
Quez.
Yes, he does.
But I like that. I like that there's a second level that you can reevaluate.
You can welcome in people from other schools that you've admired from afar or appreciate their skill set. Sure.
Well, and what happens, too? I mean, the more we cover the team here, is like you root for kids. I mean, I root for the Knowles through and through. But I root.
Oh, but there are kids that come through here that I don't root for.
When they go to the next level,
sure.
It's like, good.
Yeah, that guy was a bad apple. I'm glad he got out of here before any problems followed him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're more willing to allow for that to happen. So.
I think you get more objective the longer you're in the business, no matter who you are. Truthfully, when you cover, you find out, here's the truth of everybody in every city, everywhere. There are good and bad people everywhere. And that's true at your school. That's true on your football team. That's true at your office. So that's just the way of the world. And you figure that out, and you learn that your undying allegiance is whatever it is. But the truth is, we're rooting for laundry in the NFL. We kind of already know that. And there are certain players that make you proud that they're on your team to some degree, especially if they're doing great things in the community. But at the end of the day, they got to play well. No matter who you are, they got to play well. And if they don't, you want to get rid of them.
Right. There's no doubt about that. That's why when, you hear the thing, well, he's a Knoll, so you always got to root for a Knoll.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
Especially if you hear, behind-the-scenes stuff on some people. I'm not going to root for that guy at all.
No.
I don't care. Yeah, he may be a legend in our program's lore. But if you heard about some certain things that went on behind the scenes or just the way they were, the way they carried themselves and dealt with people and handled people when the cameras weren't on, then they go to the pros, screw that guy. Even if he is on Tampa, screw that guy.
Yeah, you'll just root for him to play well because he's on your team.
Right.
That's all that is. And for Roberto, getting back to the actual assessment of what's possible, I will say this again.
Back to the real topic.
It is very possible he goes somewhere down the line. I actually don't think it's going to be in Chicago, but I hope it is for his sake. It could be very possible that he's out a year or whatever he is, and he's back in the league kicking for somebody, and he's successful because it's not physical. It is mental. And a lot of these kickers have had it happen. I mean, we've seen it. Dustin Hopkins, Graham Gano, and I'm just looking at Knowles there. But there have been kickers throughout the only reason Nick Folk's available to be on the Bucs roster is because he had a season where it went south. It goes south. And sometimes unlike other positions, like you can't be a middling kicker. You can be a middling running back. You could be an average-ass quarterback and stick around the league for years. You can't be an average kicker. You got to make kicks.
Yeah, that's the thing about Aguayo, to put a footnote on that thing and put it to bed, because I'm glad it's over. That's one thing. Is I think most Bucs fans, whether they're Knowles or not,
it's getting exhausting, wasn't it?
You're just glad it's a kicker. Why does that still have to be the second or third biggest story? Like, let's just be done with it, one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
His problems did predate his professional career.
Yes.
His consistency issues did predate his professional career. I was rooting for it. I saw the logic because Jason Light was going to pick him in the third round. You'd say third-round pick is wrong anyway, and I hear you. The logic was that he got that pick, and essentially he wasn't giving away any draft picks to go make the move, and he was assured that he was getting his guy. I don't begrudge a GM for going to get his guy. If it fails, it fails, and that's where we judge you. So if the failures stack up higher than the successes, you're going to get fired.
Right, that's the end of the world. Yeah. And luckily, he's made a lot of really good decisions, and that's worked out, and this was a bad one.
Exactly, and I hoped against hope that it would all work out. Once it started poorly, I didn't think it was going to end well for Roberto. But if he fixes it, I mean, if he tweaks whatever's wrong between the ears, he could have a 15-year career. He's so talented.
I find it fascinating, the process that somebody will have to undergo to do that. You know, some people never get back. Going back to the golf analogy, Ian Baker Finch is in the tower for a reason. And so, I mean, that's heartbreaking, though. That guy won a major and was a great player ever so briefly, and then cuckoo. And that's a toughie. I hate that for people. Can you imagine how restless that would make you at night? Can you imagine? I mean, know that the talent is in there to do that, and then to
Then he has to be on the call for the Masters when, Adam Scott wins it, and he's on the call for the PGA Championship when Jason Day wins it and sets records.
Oh.
I mean, he didn't go away from the sport. He surrounded himself all the more with the sport. That tells you that he loves the game. So the game that he loves betrayed him.
Well, it's happened to baseball players over the years. We've watched it happen. Pitchers that can't throw, they in a game situation can't throw the ball over the plate for whatever reason. They just, you see, just have meltdowns, walk 6 guys in a row, those kinds of things. Catchers who can't throw the ball back to the pitcher, second baseman who can't throw the ball to first base, just pitchers who can't throw the ball to first base, John Lester. I mean, weird mental hang-ups, and you got to try to survive and make it. And I mean, I can't imagine it would be heartbreaking, because if you've ever had, and so what's funny is Trey Jones told me this, you don't bring up negative stuff to golfers. As interested as you may be as a reporter about the process, you don't ask them, like, they resent those kinds of questions. You don't enter those thoughts into somebody's mind. You don't offer that up. And I've listened to him, the way he talks about it, and you realize, they're serious. Like, don't you put that out into the world. Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Man, if you know enough about the game, you see somebody's putter grip, when they're on the green, that tells me all I need to know about where you've been. You've gotten back to a level that I'm watching you on television, so if you fixed it.
Yeah.
But I can tell by the way that you
if you're like all turned sideways.
Okay. I'm rooting for Chris Stroud on Sunday because
that putting grip.
Good Lord.
It was ridiculous.
He's cross-handed.
It's up over his head.
Somehow it's not anchored into his body.
It's up against the forearm. You're like, that's legal? What are we doing
right.
here?
Yes, exactly.
He's been some places.
He's been some places. Yeah. That's all you need to know.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Takana airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to autoairbagsettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's autoairbagsettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all of Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that. Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Another day, another loophole in college recruiting. This time, it's on the basketball court where Duke is the beneficiary of Marvin Bagley III, who is now reclassified and will be a member of the 2017 class and will enroll at Duke immediately. He chose Duke over Southern Cal and UCLA. Tiger Woods had 5 different drugs in his system when he was arrested back in May. That according to a toxicology report released late on Monday. On Wednesday, he pleaded guilty to reckless driving and agreed to enter a diversion program that will allow him to have his record wiped clean if he completes that program. It's week 2 of the NFL preseason, and all 3 Florida teams will play on Thursday. Baltimore will be at Miami and Jay Cutler's first game, Buffalo at Philly, and then Tampa Bay will be at Jacksonville. That game can be seen on ESPN at 8 o'clock.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
it longingly on a daily basis and look at this. You probably can't see it on YouTube, sorry. And you certainly can't see it if you're driving down the road looking at your radio. But you can see it, Tom, and that's what matters. A week-by-week guide of all the best games.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I can see it's a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got every week and every great game. Every one. And I just stare at it longingly, like a letter from a girlfriend long lost. If I were lonely and not married with 2 kids. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Yeah, you look at that and you go, oh, what could be? What could have been? Look at that, Penn State and Michigan State in Week 10. Oh, how great's that going to be?
I'm glad I didn't see this note until today.
Yeah,
or else I'd be in Penn State in Week 10.
Yeah, well, it sits right here on the table next to my computer, which is by my microphone, and as we perform radio. And you know what else? I wanted to get to, because we're limited this week. Not limited, but this is the Tuesday edition of the Jeff Cameron Show, Lawn Maintenance Tuesday edition of the show. And before we get into season, we just do the 3 to 4, 4 to 6 is Seminole headlines today.
Sometimes, yeah.
So we move it around. In the summer, we feel that we can do whatever the hell we want. That's the way the world works. Your job's not that way, but ours is. So the thing of that is, that's what we're doing today. So Seminole headlines are starting at 4.
And the truth of it is, too, you get to this part of August, the behind-the-scenes stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Like, in a way, things kind of slow down in football season because you've laid all the groundwork, and now you just execute what you've had to lay the groundwork
That's
for.
right, yeah.
But nobody likes laying groundwork.
No.
Who likes to lay that down?
No, not me. But I will. That's like, you ever do insulation?
No, I have not.
It sucks. It's awful.
Isn't that cotton candy stuff in the house?
Oh, it's terrible. I did it one summer.
Really?
Yeah.
As a job?
Yeah.
It wasn't like
I've done it twice. I did it for the poor people up in Kentucky in the Appalachians who had no appreciation for it.
So it was like a summer task. It wasn't, a daily job. You were doing insulation.
No.
Okay.
I've had a lot of weird. You know what's funny is I noticed this about myself, and I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I think it all adds up to being a decent thing because we're the sum of our experiences, so you can bring more to the table when you've done a lot of goofy stuff. But it also speaks to the lack of focus and discipline that I had in my youth. I'm just constantly jumping around, whether it's schools or jobs, or I could just never hold anything down, Tom. I just always struggled. So the point is, I often find myself in the middle of a conversation going, one year I did this. And they go, what? It's like when I told you the first time that, there was that month and a half I sold Volvos.
Right, yeah.
So it's just like a weird thing.
What's the most pointless thing this side of the Jared from Subway interview that you've ever done?
In radio?
At your job. No, any job.
Oh.
What's the,
God, when you're right to cite that Jared from Subway. That Pederus. Yeah, okay, so what? Go ahead.
Well, no, what task,
Meaningless task?
Well, you've done a lot of tasks.
I have.
What task did you do, either for money or you had to do it because it was a project?
Well, Tom, some things we just can't bring to the radio.
Well, yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
This is not in the safe harbor, sir. Where years later or at the time you said, well, this is just the most pointless job I've ever done.
Sometimes you seek out pointless jobs. I think you would agree with me here. When your brain just wants to take a rest, you'll take a job and just do something that allows you to be in your own head, and you don't really have to. It's just you don't have to think to do the job.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's good for people.
Spraying down golf carts after tournaments at my local club.
I love that. I did that same job.
100 carts, and I mean, it's a big rush.
It's nothing, man. And then you recharge them and you do the whole thing.
Yeah,
you clean them out. I did that. I was a golf cart guy.
We had to do this one stupid thing, though, is what I had in my head. We had the grass clippings, the mowers go around, and then they collect together because it was so humid out, so they'd stick together. But what ended up happening is, like, they were a blanket over the course. So you're killing the grass underneath when you cut all
Right. So you got to get those.
So you got to get them spread out.
Yeah.
So what they did, this is the most, like,
it sounds ridiculous already.
Oh,
I can see where this is going, yeah.
MacGyver gone wrong. So the GM of the club, because he had no idea what he was doing, figured he knew what he was doing. And he tied a fence post with a fence, like about 3 feet worth of fence, to the back of the cart, and they got to drive out and scrape, essentially, the grass. You could do that for hours and not accomplish a thing. It was the dumb, because it wasn't heavy enough.
I thought of my answer.
Okay.
I built tiki huts one summer.
You built tiki huts?
Yeah, with the palm fronds, I did that. I built tiki huts. I'd spend all day building a tiki hut with my buddy Jason. And we got paid for that. Like the little selling suntan oil tiki huts that are on the beach.
Yeah.
We'd make the tiki huts. We'd build them. I did that. I did that for an entire summer. You talk about mindless. It's not mindless, but there's a technique to wrapping them
together. So
there's
like a frame, and then you got to wrap them. And
not even a frame. We would do it from scratch, but he taught me how to do it. His dad was an entrepreneur, and they hopefully he's not watching right now. Anyhow, and yeah, he did a lot of different things. Solar panels, a million other things. He was ahead of his time in some ways. But we would, bless his heart, I don't know if he's alive or not, but you got me thinking about him now. But we built tiki huts one summer on St. Pete Beach and other places, all up and down. And it was hotter than Hades, but you saw hot-ass women. And you would often get paid in cash under the table, which was great for a high school kid. And then also, people weren't afraid to float you a beer because they're out there partying. They're having a good time. So for a kid, that was pretty cool.
That was the best part of the cart barn.
Yeah.
Because those people would be playing tournaments.
There,
and
sure.
I don't know if they meant to or not. They may have had too many.
Yeah.
But there would be ice cold ones. They're like, all right, here we go.
So can I address this? We didn't do this yet today, and we won't have time, and it'd probably age too quickly for us to even get into it tomorrow. Did you see the number of drugs in Tiger Woods' system?
Yes.
So I'm just going to say something here. Tiger Woods, for all of his mistakes, of which there are many transgressions to choose from, I judged him far more harshly when he was banging Perkins waitresses while ignoring his Swedish supermodel wife and their 2 kids than I do for this.
Isn't it ironic?
Than I do for this. This, I have nothing but compassion for. I think this reveals something very scary. Now, partly, he's probably like everybody else who lives in Palm Beach County. All the housewives that are there chilling. Secondly,
you're damn right. All the housewives that are chilling, with Tiger Woods.
But he could use the Callaway defense here. He wouldn't have been able to help those women, given that he was on Vicodin, diluted, Xanax, Ambien, weed.
What's one more pill?
This is a one-man party. So when he was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence in May, according to that toxicology report, which was released yesterday, that's what he had in his system. I mean, sweet Jesus, my man. No, he pled guilty to reckless driving, agreed to enter in a diversion program, and I hope that he gets the help that he needs, because hydrocodone, which is the generic form of Vicodin, hydromorphone is a painkiller, which is Dilaudid. Alprazolam, a mood and sleep drug known as Xanax. Zolpidem, a sleep drug known as Ambien. Delta-9 carboxy THC, weed. Okay? So he's got weed, Ambien, again.
Tranquilizer of sorts.
Yeah. Dilaudid, Vicodin. How was he able to get in his car?
How's he alive?
Well, that's what I was going to get to. He wouldn't be for much longer had that continued. And, look, man, the transgressions, that's not good. I got you. And it stinks that he got in that car. But, again, I really did, when I read that, I thought, his life is out of control.
And this is why, again, when we got back to that original situation, when Jack Nicklaus said, I hope he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, it sounds like people who were in the know realized you're up against it at that point, buddy. If you're taking that combination of pills on a regular basis, or feel compelled to or need to because you're in pain or whatever it might be, you're not too far away from us reading the headline, Tiger Woods found dead in his home. And that's truth.
And that's the way Nicklaus spoke about it. Again, if there's somebody in the world that's dialed into you or can make a phone call and get an understanding of what's going on with you, listen to that third party. It's Johnny Manziel's dad. Same thing.
Yeah,
Jack can pick up the
desperate,
phone.
Yeah.
Tiger's agent is his protector when it comes to every injury and every time he has to scratch from a tournament or whatever. But I'll bet he answers the phone if Jack calls and says, what in the world's going on here? I'm not trying to run to Twitter or Facebook.
Well, which
Can you
he's
tell me
not,
what's happening to Tiger? We have a special bond. I know what he's going through from a pressure standpoint. But good Lord, man.
Well, and Tiger said this. As I mentioned previously, I received professional help to manage my medications. Recently, I had been trying on my own to treat my back pain, my sleep disorders, including insomnia, but I realize now it was a mistake to do this without medical assistance. I am continuing to work with my doctors, and they feel I've made significant progress. I remain grateful for the amazing support that I continue to receive and for the family and friends that are assisting me. So, he fell asleep at the wheel there in Jupiter. He had no alcohol in his system, so it was just these drugs, all of these drugs. And he didn't know where he was when he was asked by the officers where he was. He stumbled, swayed through the test of sobriety. He told officers that he had taken Xanax to cope with back surgery. He's had 4 surgeries going back to just 2014 on that back. He even had the most recent being fusion surgery. So I think in reading this and seeing the list of all of the injuries and knowing where kind of the state of Tiger Woods, if you will, that we can finally say there will be no more Tiger Woods performances on the PGA Tour.
Well, consider all that, and I get where it comes off as prying, but the man is a public figure, and,
well,
this is what comes with it a little bit. But consider the vignette of, Rory McIlroy sleeping at home. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's found a balance in his life. Some may say he doesn't care about golf nearly as much as he should if it's his profession. And he's getting texts from Tiger Woods that are waking him up, and it's saying, hey, what are you up to? I just got done with a workout. Like, that guy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Juxtapose that with Tiger, who's also taking 1 million pills. It's just incredible that he's still walking the earth after you hear that report.
I fight insomnia, but I don't take Vicodin or Dilaudid or Xanax or THC or whatever else he had in his system.
Ambien, which is the one you would take.
I don't like the way that those things make me feel when I wake up in the morning when I finally do fall asleep. Actually, I've never taken Ambien, but I've taken even like the holistic version of whatever, and I just sleep aids don't help me.
I get nervous taking a leave because that stuff really knocks me for a loop.
Which is crazy because I can double down on a leave now. I remember you took a leave on the golf course and you acted like you were high.
I was.
I was like, my man, it's an leave. It's an over-the-counter.
We were playing in a golf tournament at a charity one.
Yeah.
I felt so bad I couldn't swing the club.
It was bizarre. I literally, this was a joke, folks, so don't take it the wrong way. I said to him, we should have just smoked some weed and played because if you're going to be this kind of goofy.
I was goofy. I could, and it got rid of the pain. I had some bad. I pulled a muscle.
Pain,
it almost felt like tendonitis of sorts. But then also this past couple of weeks, feeling groggy with the sinuses. I'm worried that I'm taking the Excedrin with caffeine in it too much because it gives me a lift. I'm so afraid of those pills, man. Seriously.
2 things that crack me up just with your constitution, the way you are. The mere glimmer of a ray of sunshine frightens you to the point of doubling down on spray for your skin, which fine. You're protecting yourself. And then B, your reaction to any kind of a pill or any sort of drug at all is usually a little bit more severe than the average guy.
I can't drink an 8-ounce cup of coffee without being jittery, like really jittery. I have to have maybe
We just got to work on it more. You got to drink more coffee. We got to fight past that initial problem, man.
God, no.
I'd be the worst. I'm the drug dealer. Oh, I know it adversely affected you the first time. Let's do it again together. Let's just fight through this.
Do as I do at 2:30. Pound a cup of coffee and have a 5-hour extra strength right behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, listen, the show must go on. You got to be able to give the people what they need, baby.
Now that you've mastered that, let's welcome in the Vicodin. You know?
No, I can't. Now I'm with you on that. I can't take any
pain.
I've had multiple surgeries, way too many surgeries for my liking, and I can't take any of those pain pills. They make me absolutely goofy. I don't even know where I am. I'd have been Tiger Woods out there. I got no idea. I have taken Vicodin before after I shattered my arm. And I was a jerk to people, apparently. I spoke to people that were in the room and I don't remember them being there at any point. I've had people come back to me and say, that told me all these things I said. I don't remember saying. I can't be on that stuff. I'm like the world's worst person, and they make me feel crappy.
I liked it. I took it after Wisdom.
Well, see, you got a problem then.
Well, I've never taken it. It's been 12 years.
You got a problem, pal. I just diagnosed it.
It's been 12 years.
Yeah, don't you ever take it again. You go down that road.
I had the wisdom teeth taken out, and I had Vicodin for a couple days. I liked it too much. I stopped taking them.
Yeah, at least you knew that. I don't. We don't want to do that thing where we reveal too much of each other. I was.
Man,
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, that the acknowledgement of liking something too much and knowing that you got to get away from it
forget that.
Yeah. Hey, so as an aside, coming up next is Seminole Headlines, and it's good as we begin to debate what it means that the left tackle position is a revolving door right now of people trying out. The Matthew Thomas situation with him not at practice. And of course, headliner questions we get into as well. And also somebody properly addresses during the headliner questions segment that do I ever get tired of being right, like I was about Aguayo, et cetera. And that was a question, Tom. I addressed I answer it.
I knew you'd read that question because you know that.
I read all of them. There were 20-something. I read every one of them.
Right, that Corey's writing those little descriptions, and they say, tell us how great we are.
Right.
And then ask questions.
Yeah. Well, he did that last week. I'm sure he did it again this week.
He did it again this week, yeah.
Well, this one was just an honest place. It came from a great place. It was clearly, that wasn't the origin of that compliment.
Quite separate.
Because, once again, we actually were right about the Aguayo thing. That's irrefutable. That's
correct.
Right. Yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
This is undisputed. Sorry. Seminole Headlines up next. Good work, Tom. Good work, Matthew. Talk to you guys tomorrow.